If the basketball axiom is true, then this Hawks-Wizards series hasn't even started yet. They say that a series hasn't started until the home team loses a game. Well, after 5 games, the home team is a perfect 5 for 5. The series shifted back to Washington, D.C., and the Washington Wizards coming away again with a very close victory here in our nation's capital. In Game 5, it was the Wizards 103, the Hawks 99, the number 4 seed over the number 5 seed in the first round Eastern Conference Series here at the Verizon Center in Washington, D.C. The Wizards now with a 3-2 series lead in the ball game. The Wizards, you could say, were reeling a little bit after coming up short in both games in Atlanta. The Hawks tying the series at 2 after being down 2-0, losing the first 2 games here in Washington, D.C. And like the first 2 games, Game 5 was very close coming down the stretch. The Hawks a couple of times were within 1 possession with a couple of minutes left. But like Game 2, the big difference in Game 5, the play of the backcourt for the Washington Wizards, Bradley Beal and John Wall, as well as the play of the Washington Wizards bench. Beal led all Wizards scorers with 27 points, hit 5 of his first 6 shots in the ball game to set the tone. John Wall had 20 points and 14 assists in the ball game. But again, the bench came through. Like in Game 2, the bench with a big performance in Game 5, especially in the fourth quarter, to lift Washington to the 4-point victory. Washington looking to close out the series on Friday night at Phillips Arena in Atlanta. The Hawks looking to force a Game 7. We heard from both members of the Atlanta Hawks and the Washington Wizards postgame. We start by hearing from Washington Wizards head coach Scott Brooks, and I got to ask him personally, how big was the play of the bench, especially defensively, at the beginning of the fourth quarter, as Washington's bench scored 8 of the first 9 points for the Wizards in the fourth quarter. Building on the bench play, how much of a lift did they give the team specifically defensively? Not just with Oubre, Brandon Jennings had a steal and a layup on Calderon, Bogdanovich trapped Taurean Prince as well with Oubre. How much of a lift did they give the whole team defensively, and how do you get that play to carry over offensively and defensively from your bench in Atlanta?
I think that's a good point. You know what? And you look at some of our guys off the bench, Bojan is known as an offensive player. Brandon's an offensive attack guy, but the defensive spark they gave us, it inspired our guys. And when you play hard and you play for your teammates, that's how you inspire them, and it's contagious. And Bojan was getting into his hands involved, active, and making them force shots and we're contesting passes, and that's good to see because it hasn't been that way as down in Atlanta, especially that first game down there.
I think all 3 games here, we've given ourselves a chance. We feel like we can play better. We went back to, for games 3 and 4 and played better. We got to go back and play better in Game 6. That'll be the focus. That'll be where our mind is. For more of the 48 minutes, we got to be more focused. We got to be the aggressor. We got to take care of the ball. We got to get good possessions. We got to go stronger to the basket. Do all of those things for more of the 48 minutes. And we're doing it, but it's just not, tonight, credit to them. They were better. They made a few more plays than us. But we'll go back to Atlanta Game 6, and it's got to be us that's the aggressor, and it's us that makes the plays.
John, what specific changes did the team make in terms of the pick and roll coverages? Bradley Beal said that you went back to basics in terms of the coverage. And is that going to be something that you stick with moving forward because it was effective tonight?
Well, first 2 games we played them, we went underneath screens, and it worked for us. We won 2 games. We lived with those guys making threes behind the screen. Game 3 and 4 hurt us. They made a lot of shots there. They started setting their screens lower. You give those guys credit, they made adjustments. And tonight we had to make adjustment ourselves. He still made a lot of threes, but a lot of them was in transition. That's something we can deal with. But I think it kind of took Millsap out of his game a little bit of getting a lot of balls and going down the court one-on-one and posting up. So we'll probably make more adjustments, but keep them to ourselves until the game over.
What is it going to take in terms of the one X factor to get a victory on Friday in Game 6?
They did supposed to do what they had to do. They took care of business at home. We got to have the right mindset, on Friday. Die for loose ball, taking charges, on Bradley Beal and John Wall. and just compete for 48 minutes and, yeah, do whatever it takes.
So once again, the Wizards with the win by 4 points. The Atlanta Hawks coming up just short in this ball game, but in this ball game, their point guard Dennis Schröder, and in this series as well, he is quickly becoming a star in this league. Schröder, the point guard for the Atlanta Hawks, 29 points in this ball game, 10 of 18 from the field. Out of his 6 3-point attempts in this ball game, he hit 5 of those 3-point attempts. He also had 11 assists, as well as he is matching John Wall point for point, assist for assist. But the Hawks came up just short here tonight in Game 5. The Hawks looking to extend this series to a 7th game and come back here to Washington on Sunday. Game 6 between the Hawks and the Washington Wizards at Phillips Arena in Atlanta on Friday. So stay tuned to a lot of sports talk and a lot of sportstalk.com. Not only are we working feverishly this weekend, the maintenance men and women here at the Verizon Center also working feverishly right now. Tomorrow, the Washington Capitals will be in this space, but instead of the hardwood, it'll be the ice. It'll be Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals, the Metropolitan Division Finals. The Washington Capitals taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins in Game 1 of that series between the two Eastern Conference rivals. We will have coverage of that game for you, post-game coverage of the Capitals and Penguins after Game 1 of their series. And also, we will be in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania over the weekend to cover the Penn relays as well. So once again, our final score, the Washington Wizards 103, the Atlanta Hawks 99. The Wizards looking to close out the Hawks on Friday night in Atlanta. From the Verizon Center in Washington, D.C., my name is Adesina Koiki for a lot of sportstalk.com.